What's up guys, Benny here and welcome to my top 10 best loadouts for Call of Duty Warzone Season 2 Reloaded. Over the past couple weeks there has been a whole host of changes to weapons, from nerfs and buffs to attachment changes, that has really thrown the meta up in the air a little bit, and this video is going to ensure that you've got the best setups possible to get as many kills and wins as you can. Now for those of you who are starting to look at competing in Warzone, you'll want to check out the sponsor of today's video, Z-League, which is the world's first skill-based Warzone tournament platform. Z-League allows you to compete in tournaments for cash prizes, no matter your skill level, as you'll be competing against players of a similar ability. Now, Z-League are able to do this by using a custom-built algorithm that takes into account all of your Warzone stats, not just your KD ratio, to then rank teams into skill divisions. This means you'll only ever play against players that are at a similar level to you, making it a lot more fun to compete in as teams are fairly balanced. Now this means whether you have a 0.5 KD or a 5 KD, the players you play against are going to be of the same skill level. Scoring is done the same way as other big tournaments, where you'll get points for kills and placement. And you don't need to even stream or take screenshots, as it'll all be tracked in real time on the website. Z-League works on all platforms, console or PC, and there are both free and paid entry tournaments. If you want to go check it out with your squad, there is a link down in the description below, so get competing. So the first loadout we're going to check out is what I think is now the meta setup to use in Warzone. Let me know down in the comments below if you agree or disagree, but we're going to kick off with the M16. After the nerf to the Aug, with the recoil being increased, the M16 has been left untouched, and it is so good and has that same damage profile that the Aug has. 72 damage for a headshot, 40 to the chest. So, you know, you can still two burst people with this. Not as high a fire rate, but the same damage profile, which is pretty insane. Now, on the M16 itself, I go ahead and use the agency silencer. Must pick, gonna keep you off the radar for those medium to long range gunfights. And the M16 is actually better than the Aug at a distance because of the recoil pattern. So you're gonna pick up a lot of kills at range. Then you want the 15.9 inch strike team barrel. The underbarrel we go for is the field agent foregrip. The ammo, you want the 45 round mag. A lot of people are running the Salvo 60 round mag, but since those attachment changes, the 45 round mag is going to make sure your ADS doesn't suffer. Then we go for the Axial Arms 3x scope. Also remember to customize your reticle and use the precision reticle. In my opinion, is the best one and easiest to use, so definitely make sure you give that a go if you haven't already. Now the FFAR, I actually covered this the other day, but I now use a no agency suppressor FFAR. On it, we're going to have the task force barrel, because you still get that strafe speed. Before the updates and changes, the 20.3 takedown barrel also had strafe speed increase, which is what I use instead. But now 90.5 task force, you're going to have to take that recoil hit, and it's one of the reasons we've sacrificed the muzzle. We have seen some people run a no underbarrel variant, but for me, the field agent grip is going to make it a lot easier to control, especially if you're on controller, for that recoil with the task force barrel. Then you want to use the base 50 round mag. Little bit of aim down sight penalty, but not as much as the 50 round fast mag. Then you're going to go onto the stock and use the Raider stock. Now the rear grip, you're going to want to go ahead and use the airborne elastic wrap. It is better than the serpent wrap from some testing that I know J-God's done. So go ahead and use the airborne elastic wrap. And then that is my build, my tournament build. That's the build that I use when I'm going for high kill games. It's honestly really aggressive gameplay. It's great. EOD, overkill, amped, C4, and a stun grenade. I use the C4 because for me, there are so many situations where a vehicle's running at me and the C4 is going to take it out in one, while a Semtex or a proximity mine or a thermite isn't really going to do the job for me. So for me, C4 is still the best piece of equipment. Now we've got the alternative tournament setup. Now the Aug has been nerfed, but it's still very good. We use a similar build that we had for the M16, and it's still very good at like short to medium range. It's just that long range. If you're spamming that trigger, you've kind of got to self-moderate your kind of fire rate, because otherwise the kick is just going to go up and you're going to be missing a lot of shots, and your time to kill is going to plummet. So definitely make sure to use this build, but keep that in mind when you're using it. Then I use the Groza. Now, I think the Groza could, I'm not going to lie to you, kind of sneak in if the FAR takes any more hits, because it's really high mobility. I've used it on a streamer load. You're going to go for the Groove Suppressor on that. The barrel is the CMV mil specs. That's going to increase your damage and also give you that strafe speed, so you're aiming down sight and can move really, really quickly. The underbarrel that I go ahead and use for this is the Spetsnaz grip. Once again, sprinting move speed. Now, the reason I don't use the Spetsnaz speed grip on it and I use the Spetsnaz grip is I want to be still able to move fast. This is my close range assault rifle to pair with the AUG or the M16. So sprinting move speed means it's going to be able to pull off those flanks, and it's going to work more like an SMG. Yes, it's going to be a bit harder to control, but at the range you're using it, it's not got much recoil anyway. Then I go ahead and use the Spetsnaz 60 round drum on this. And then we go for the rear grip. Once again, the GRU elastic grip, and then the stock is going to be the KGB pad. And oh no, sorry, I've made a mistake there. It's the KGB pad straight off the back. We've got the Groove Suppressor, so we don't have a rear grip. Like, KGB pad is just going to help with that ADS firing moves time, and just kind of allow you to go around corners really, really quickly. So that is the build that you want on the Groza, and the same perks and equipment as the last class. Now, all right, this is something you might have seen me use on stream, but the Ram 7 actually got a, also, got to show you, got a new blueprint, which looks cool with Sabaki rounds. It looks sick. But the Ram 7, one of the best assault rifles, most underrated in the game, to be honest. Like, from a time to kill perspective, it beats every other 5.56 Modern Warfare gun. It beats the Grau, it beats the M4, it beats the Kilo, because it's got the highest fire rate and that same damage profile. It takes a little bit of time to get used to because it's got a left kick. So when it kind of goes vertical and left, it's the only assault rifle that does that, so can throw you off, but if you get the hang of it, totally worth it. You're gonna have that FSS Ranger barrel on there, Commando foregrip, 50 round mag, and then you got two choices. If you're using it as a close range weapon, if you're pairing it with a sniper, you can go for the Corp Combat Hollow. If you're kind of using it for mid range, VLK 3x optics, great. Personally, been pairing it with a Kar 98, so we're gonna go ahead there and stick that blue dot on there. Really, really nice attack setup. Then the muzzle on the Kar 98 that I've been using for aggressive snipers. Go for the Kar 98K, really good if you're like trying to be on the front foot all the time. Love this weapon so much. Barrel 27.6, tac laser. Now, there is a little bug going on in Warzone at the moment. Hopefully it gets fixed, but if you use the variable zoom scope on any Modern Warfare sniper, there's no glint, right? It's not as good as scope. It's kind of got slower ADS time and the zoom levels are a little bit weird, but on the other hand, you don't get any glint at all, which is pretty ridiculous, to be perfectly honest with you. I think it's because it's got a 3.5 times scope. Not 100% sure how that's happened, but they've done it. So, but personally, I like you to use the standard sniper scope, and I go for the pinpoint reticle on that. And yes, there is a brand new sniper in Warzone. It is now here, right? It is the ZRG 20mm. We will have a video on that on the channel tomorrow, so make sure you're subscribed if you're not already. But I've been using it in multiplayer a little bit, and it is pretty damn powerful. I'm not going to lie to you. Same perks, lethal and tactical. Now, the Bullfrog, we've got the same M16, but the Bullfrog SMG is so much fun to use. Like, honestly, especially since that little nerf to the FAR, the SMGs have become a little bit more viable again, so you can get away going and using it if you want to. But the Bullfrog, really clean iron sight, really powerful. You're going to have the muzzle, that Groove Suppressor on there. The barrel's the 7.4 task force. I like having that strafe speed so I can kind of slide in and out. And also, in those close range fights, if you've got high strafe speed, it's really hard for other people to snap onto you and track you. So trust me, take advantage of that, because we've then got the underbarrel, which is the VDV speed grip, sprinting move speed, really helps, because this thing doesn't actually have that much recoil. Now, I use the base 65 round mag, and then we've got the KGB skeletal stock as well, which is just going to allow you to be on ice skates. Honestly, do not underestimate this weapon, because I think we could start seeing it be used a lot more, especially alongside the MAC 10 and the Cold War MP5. But it's a great loadout to use. We've then got my Akimbo setup. Now, with this setup, I use the CR56 AMAX, something that a lot of people have not used as much recently because of the whole tactical rifle meta where we've just had AUGs and M16s, but Commando foregrip on there, Ranger foregrip if you struggle with the recoil, 45 round mag, then the VLK 3x optic, and as always, I stick that T-pose reticle on the 3x. So this is the build that I go ahead and use on the M19 pistols. We're not going to have the monolithic suppressor on here once again. We actually go ahead and use the XRK V extender because that's going to increase your damage range as well as the bullet velocity, so you can do the most damage at the furthest distances and take those people down as quickly as you can. We then have the lightweight trigger, the ammo. I go for the 32 round mag so I can spam these things and take out multiple people pretty easy. I'm not having to worry about running out of rounds. Then you go ahead and use the Akimbo and of course the 5 MW laser. Yes, when you're using these things, you're not going to be on radar, but you're going to take people down and you're already in people's faces, a bit like the FFAR that we checked out earlier. Doesn't really matter if you appear on radar. And then the setup is the same: C4, heartbeat sensor, EOD, ghost, and amp. So that it pretty much, this setup allows you to grab ghosts right off the rip, which is one of the huge benefits of it. And like, you know, those pistols can really hold their own. Now, if we move on to my sniper class, I pair it with the FFA, the FFAR, same build as we saw earlier: task force barrel, field agent grip, then the 50 round mag. We've then got the airborne elastic wrap, and then we've got the Raider stock there as well. Great weapon, love it. And I've actually been using the Tundra. However, right, this could replace, the ZRG could replace this. We don't know. You have to check out tomorrow's video to find out. Now, on the Tundra setup, you're going to want to have that wrap suppressor because it's pretty much a no-brainer attachment. The barrel you're going to have is the hammer forged because you want to have that increased fire rate so you can get more shots off, which means you're going to be landing those headshots and taking people down pretty damn quickly. Then I go for the ammo, where I'm going to be using the 7 round mag. Doesn't penalize any of your aim down sight speeds, means you can get more shots off, take more people out without having to worry about dipping out and getting the reload off. Then the rear grip, you're going to have that serpent wrap. It's going to increase your aim down sight speed, get those shots off. And then what you can do is, there's a couple choices. You can go ahead and use the royal and cross 4 times, which is no glint. It's 4 times. It's the same as the first zoom on the Kar 98K variable. So it's definitely a usable scope, but no glint legitimately. So if you want to like hide in a bush or a corner and not be seen by sniping people, this is what you can go ahead and use. If you quite like the default sniper, you can go ahead and use that instead. If you're going to do that, I personally just go ahead and use like an infiltrator grip for faster movement speed. There's not really any punishments to doing that. But yeah, that's the Tundra build that I personally been using with that FFAR. Now, if we move onwards, we've got a shotgun setup. I pair it with an M13 because, you know, who doesn't love the M13? I want to kind of show some love to some of the underrated assault rifles in Warzone right now. Tempest Marksman, Commando foregrip. You're going to have the 60 round mag because it's got a very high fire rate. And then once again, you can go for the Corp Combat Hollow or the VLK 3 times optic. I love this thing with the VLK. And then on the shotgun, which is going to be your close range weapon. This thing is disgusting, by the way. The muzzle agency choke. No downsides. Punishment to your aim down sight speed and aiming stability, but sound suppression, vertical recoil control, bullet velocity, effective damage range. Really helpful. Then the barrel that we're going to go for, you can go for either 24.8 task force or the hammer forged. Hammer forged means you get the shots off. Personally, I use the 24.8 just to increase that damage output of the shotgun itself. We then go for the ember sighting point on there for effective damage range and hip fire accuracy. Then we're going to go for the stock, and we're going to go for that marathon stock, which is pretty much the Raider stock. And you can just spray this thing. It means that you can just ADS and just go in and start spraying like a crazy person, and people will drop. And then the final, most important attachment for this setup is the ammo, which is a Stagnag 12 round tube, and this melts. However, when you are using this, one of the big things that I would advise, just because it's a shotgun, is don't play with auto tac sprint. If you're playing with auto tac sprint, you're not going to find this as effective as using like a Mac 10 or something like that. So go ahead, try this out. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. But I think we could potentially see a shotgun meta if the FFAR receives any more of a nerf. Now, the Cold War SMG. I like using this with a either the M16 or the CR56 AMAX. The AMAX, like, I'm excited to kind of start using it a lot more because I'm kind of getting bored of the TAC rifle meta personally. But the Mac 10, still an incredible SMG. If you've got it, use the Gallantry Blueprint. It's got a better, cleaner iron sight. The muzzle, you're gonna have that agency suppressor. The barrel that I go for is the 5.9 Task Force. Underbarrel, field agent grip, ammo. We're going to go for that 53 round drum. Don't penalize our aim down sight speed too much. And then you've got 2 choices now. Now, if you're wanting to kind of go in pre-aiming a bit more, you can use this. But if you want a really fast, kind of ADS build, airborne elastic wrap is really going to help you out there. Just to kind of be able to like snap on, land your shots, give it a go, because before we were running the Raider stock on here a lot more, but the airborne elastic wrap, now they actually do something, is really, really good. And then EOD overkill amp C4 and a heartbeat sensor. Then we've got an LMG build. I can't not show this. Now, the reason I've got this is, like, to be honest, it's not necessarily the most effective loadout. However, beaming vehicles with this, I mean Berthas, I mean choppers, like big Jeeps, destroys this thing. The bullet velocity is dropped. However, it's kind of more of a utility weapon in squads, because you can just take vehicles down so quickly and they can't really do anything. The underbarrel, we've got that field agent grip on there. You don't need a mag necessarily, because this thing, like, it's got a big clip anyway. And remember, we're really only using this for vehicles. Optic, I go ahead and use the actual arms 3 times, and stick on the precision on there as well, mainly because I'm firing at trucks. So I just want to make sure that I'm landing all my shots on there. Then you've got a couple choices. You can go for the stock with the Raider pad if you want an ADS firing move speed, or you can go for that airborne elastic wrap for a faster ADS, which I would advise because you just kind of want to be a little bit snappy on this. And now go and use the FFAR with this, just so I can take people down up close. And it's that same build once again. Let me know what you think about this, all these loadouts, and if you've got any particular loadouts yourself that you love, make sure to let me know down in the comments below, because I love trying out new setups and loadouts. That is a really fun one. Just burn vehicles, choppers. Honestly, in solos, end circle, you will be so happy to have that stoner. And it's still a really good assault, right? Like, it's still a good, like, weapon in itself anyway, just doesn't have that bullet velocity to beam people at range. Then the restock setup, I've started using restock a lot more, just partially for, like, trying to set up for wins, because I'll quickly explain it as I do this, but I use the M16 with this field agent grip, same one that we used earlier. But the reason I've started using restock is I've got a little bit bored running Ghost, and because now the advanced UAVs will show Ghost at end game, restock can become really helpful. First of all, if you're trying to lock buildings down and get to end game, if you get like an end zone within a building, claymores on doors and entrances, in solos and duos or any mode, to be honest, really help you out. And then stun grenades as well. And then restock is just going to allow you to do that. There's a load of data on people using Ghost, restock, and high alert. And Ghost actually has the lowest average KD, but it's also the most used, so it could be swayed across. I'm just trying a loadout, but make sure to give this go. You can swap that second perk if you want to Ghost, and I stick an RPG on there as well. Just you never know when you need an RPG. But those are my top 10 best loadouts for Season 2 Reloaded. Let me know what you think. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.